Hello, I'm Fiona Sitkin, a founder and a host of The Bridge for Women Worldwide. I am now hosting the second episode of the Bridge talk show series. Let us start with the current events first. The current events are about domestic violence. And as I mentioned, Irmgard Lafrenz is helping me on that. Irmgard spent 3 years as a volunteer in Cuenca, Ecuador, working for the foundation called Casa Amor, a shelter for abused women and children in Cuenca. We will discuss several interesting issues here, and I believe Irmgard knows much more than I do about the issues. These are the four issues. Domestic violence increases due to pandemic. And indeed, this is what we read from multiple media outlets. This is why we want to bring this up. First, more than half of the world population under pandemic lockdown. We know that domestic violence is increasing, both in the USA and around the world. Clearly, some self-isolated people, the men, suffer a lot from self-isolation, from boredom, and from financial troubles, and this provokes aggression in them as abusive types. So their women must bear the burden of it, including severe beatings. I am just wondering why the victimized women do not escape. What do you think, Irmgard?
Yeah, in general, you can say they are scared, insecure, and financially dependent. So they lost their self-confidence through years of abuse. Typically, their husbands, fathers, brothers, or uncles are the abusers, and the unknown is completely scary for them.
I see.
So instead of leaving, they endure sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. And now the COVID-19 pandemic makes this even worse for them.
I am sure. Could you share with us, Irmgard, how Foundation Casa Amor works? I heard they have a very large effort all around Ecuador.
Yes, they do. Typically, the abuse happens in rural areas or small villages and small towns. The women are young, poor, uneducated, and with no support. The cycle is very hard to break because their mothers have been abused themselves, so they won't help their daughters. Casa Amor started as a grassroots network and has grown now and even has a hotline. So if women decide to leave, they can call the hotline and one of the social workers will pick them up. Now, this is certainly not as easy as we think, because the women will certainly not leave without their children. So they have to more or less escape. And the way they do it is either at night when their husbands or their abusers are drunk and passed out, or during the day when he is working and out of the house. So they have to leave without anything. So the social worker picks them up at a prearranged location, typically a church or the house of a midwife, some trusted person.
Uh-huh.
And again, they have nothing on them. They can't walk away with a suitcase.
Uh-huh.
So they will be brought to Casa Maria Amor, which is basically a safe house above Cuenca in the mountains. And there they get the essentials, clothes, toiletries, and a private room.
Uh-huh.
The main thing is that they need to be made safe, because safety is the key issue. Because again, as I said earlier, they are scared. They are very, very scared. So once they decide to stay at the shelter, typically for 6 to 10 months, they get training, work training, therapy. Their children go to school. Near the shelter is a school. So they can start figuring out their new life.
Uh-huh.
And at the end, once they decide to leave, they can decide where they want to go. Typically, we encourage them to leave the province, so to get out of the reach of the abuser. And most likely they will have found a friend or a relative who takes them in and helps them with the next step. Mm-hmm. Or Maria Amor has a network and refers them to the next network to help them to the next step.
I see, I see. You know so very much. It's so informative. Everything you said is very, very informative. Let me share something about the United States situation. As reported by NBC News, throughout our country, the recorded reports of domestic violence are increasing. And the domestic abuse cases are growing tremendously. Like in March, there were many more reported than in February. In April more than in March, in May more than in April, and so on and so forth. For example, Houston, Texas saw an increase of more than 300 reported cases per month. And Charlotte, North Carolina is even worse. More than 500 more reported cases per month. That's a huge spike, right?
Yes, indeed. And I hear this from Ecuador as well. So I get reports from Casa Maria Amor that confirms what you are saying as well. And I mean, the answer to this is strictly, we need more training for men. We need to be much more proactive. And this is worldwide. We need to be more proactive training and educating men that it's not okay to beat up their women. And giving that the second wave is most likely coming or already here makes this even more important.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, because from what we learn from media, global rates of domestic violence are also on the rise worldwide. Do you know, by the way, that France and Spain have adopted a very special system so the victims can secretly report their abuse? Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
so,
I love their system. Yes. I love their system. Yes. Like the victims go to pharmacy and say a coded word,
yes,
mask 19, and then the help comes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is a great way to do it. And I do know about the Violence Against Women Act 1994. But again, we need to do much more. And my mantra is we have to break the cycle of violence.
Right.
The cycle of violence needs to be broken. And for me, that is the key issue. And at Casa Maria Amor, we are working on this because the education and therapy for boys is crucial to break this cycle, because these boys don't see anything else but violence against women, and they may become the next generation abuser. So my thing is, I really, really hope we can manage to break the cycle with education, training, and therapy.
I cannot agree more with you, Irmgard, with all my heart. Of course, legislation is a good thing, very good, but systemic education of boys works from the grassroots. That's what really going to work.
Yes.
Now, yeah, let me make a point about women immigrants with limited English. They suffer even more than women at large because they have a limited idea of where and how to seek help. But
yes,
we need to care about them anyway, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so very much, Irmgard, for sharing your knowledge. And thank you all those who are listening to us for listening, for understanding, and for the upcoming support. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Fiona.